This is WPIX, New York.
Live from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, you see it. The Empire State Building and the George Washington Bridge from one end of New York to the other. New York Yankee baseball is on the air.
Hello there, everybody. Live on the Yankee Baseball Network, WPIX Sports presents its 40th season of New York Yankee baseball.
Live from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, WPIX Sports presents New York Yankee baseball. Today, the Yankees take on the New York Mets. Hi, hello, and welcome to Yankee Stadium, everybody. Yes, we finally do have baseball. There was the lockout and there was a shortened spring training, but finally baseball has arrived here in New York as we get ready for the start of this 1990 season. Along with the Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, and Tom Seaver, I'm George Grand. And for those of you that don't know, this marks the beginning of the 50th year for Phil Rizzuto as a member of the Yankee team, not just in broadcasting, but as a player too. And Scooter, that's an unbelievable accomplishment.
Well, it is, except for the fact that when you're doing something you really enjoy, the time just flies. And when you're working with people you like, the time flies even faster.
I know you were worried we wouldn't have any baseball this year. We're finally here.
When I saw that picture of Yankee Stadium, I tell you, my heart skipped a couple of beats. It was so good to see. I couldn't get up for this game. I was telling Tom Seaver before. I said, you know, it just don't feel right. But as soon as I saw the green on Yankee Stadium, great job the groundskeepers did and the crowd here. I think it's going to be a great year.
Well, we're starting this 1990 season with a look at Yankee Stadium. And Tom Seaver, we had the lockout and obviously a shortened spring training. Who does it affect the most as we start the 90 season?
Well, it is a very unusual start for the season, George. No question about the lockout. Only a couple of weeks of spring training, limited number of games. If I were to pick somebody, pitchers or hitters, who was going to affect the most, I would really go to a different category and go to the age group. I think the shortened spring training, with the weather along with it, are going to affect the older players more than the younger players. The older players are the ones that need the longer amounts of spring training. It takes longer for them to get their timing. It takes longer for them to get conditioned, to get ready for the season play. One individual on the field where spring training was extremely important, Dave Winfield, and you just look at the numbers, he is progressing very slowly, but I don't think you could expect anything else. He is probably the one person that has missed spring training the most.
Hey, you see Dave Winfield, and you can see everyone in the Yankee dugout wearing that number 1 on their left sleeve, of course, that in memory and to commemorate the great career that Billy Martin had with the New York Yankees. And Scooter, I know it seems a little strange to start a season without Billy as part of the Yankee family on the field. We know he'll always be part of the Yankee family in terms of his presence, though.
No, you're absolutely right, George. It just doesn't seem fair, or you can't realize that Billy is gone, especially the way it happened. Nobody ever thought he'd go that way, but his son will be here on opening day and then the start of a new year.
Oh, we're heading up towards opening day, and in just a couple of moments we'll have the start of today's game between the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. And by the way, we mentioned that Scooter celebrating 50 years with the Yankees. How about this guy, Bob Shepard, just a couple of moments ago, honored here as he begins his 40th year as the announcer, the game announcer here at Yankee Stadium. A class man and a class award for Bob Shepard. He will throw out the first pitch of today's ball game. Congratulations, Robert. We'll be back with the first pitch from Yankee Stadium after these messages.
Participating advertisers in New York Yankee baseball are Budweiser. Be Schwartz age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive. And by the New York Yankees. Well, Scooter, baseball finally and at last here at Yankee Stadium.
I think that's going to do a lot for not only the people in New York, but all around the country. It's something that's been lacking and missing, and just makes everybody so exciting to forget their troubles. at least for a little while, come out to the ballpark and yell at the players and the umpires and the announcers. And the first pitch of the ball game, a bluff bunt by Greg Jeffries. Youngster's had kind of a troubled career so far, Tom. Came in well heralded and started off good the latter part of the year, and then 1-1.
I think part of the problem was that there were such high expectations. As you look at the Yankee starter for today, Chuck Carey has started 4 times in spring training. This is his 5th outing. But Jeffries came along, and they made him a superstar, I think, over with the Mets, and he had very high expectations about himself. I think he did not realize that playing Major League Baseball on an everyday basis is a little bit more difficult than he gave it credit for.
That's right, absolutely right. A bunt attempt, it's fouled off.
He is a fine athlete.
I know.
He has a lot of tools. He has a beautiful swing. He can run well. He's a very aggressive player. One of the things that every young player must learn to do is to control emotions, and there's really no other way to do it than get out there between the lines, give yourself some problems, and overcome them. Of course, Davey Johnson, the manager of the New York Mets, actually handed the job to Jeffries, and it was a difficult time for him last year.
Rip foul. No, what you say is so true, and also the fact, as we look at the Yankee manager Bucky Dent now, he's right in between there. You see the back of his head. But when the veterans get on him and tell him, say, listen, we let you get away with it your first year up here, but no more of that stuff. He would throw his bat, get in the temper tantrums when he wouldn't get a base hit. And it looks like he's overcome it. Oh, and after that high fastball out of the strike zone. Good strikeout for Chuck Carey.
One of the pitches that gave Jeffries troubles last year, he was swinging the balls over his head, chasing the high fastball. That's one of the things that really got him off to a bad start and kept him in a bad start last year. He has to learn to lay off that pitch, especially in the leadoff position.
No, absolutely. He's got to get a lot of walks, and you start swinging at that one, you're going to just pop it up. Keith Miller just took a pretty good pitch, called a ball, but here's the kid that an infielder normally handed the center field job. Hit it well to center field. Roberto Kelly, 2 men out.
Very quickly, we'll give you the lineup for the Mets. Greg Jeffries, a leadoff hitter, as we saw him playing second base. Keith Miller in center. Howard Johnson, the third baseman, in the third spot. Darryl Strawberry is a DH and the cleanup hitter. Kevin McReynolds on left. Mike Marshall, a new acquisition, at first. Barry Lyons does the catching. Kevin Elster at short and Mark Carrion in right field. Of course, the Mets able to use the DH today, and they put Darryl Strawberry in that spot.
You know, I don't think that's fair. Every time a National League team plays an American League team in American League Park, they can use the DH. But when the American League team plays in the National League Park, they don't get to use the DH. Like in the World Series, I think the National League has an advantage that way. Howard Johnson had another outstanding year last year, 1-1.
I think if they started to do it in spring training, when games really don't matter, wins and losses don't matter, they think the carryover, the precedent set, and they'll start thinking that way for postseason play.
All right. Good off-speed pitch. There's a man that looks like he's got his head together now, and if he does, and has the kind of year that everybody knows he's capable of having, he could carry the Mets right to the pennant. Darryl Strawberry, hitting .444 this spring. 2 men out, no score, and it's outside, ball 1. Make that ball 2-2-2.
This Met lineup, very strong. They're going to score a lot of runs. A lot of people, of course, are picking them to get to the World Series.
Well, that's some combination. They're going to score
good
a lot
pitching.
of runs. Pitching. Little high, 3-2.
Good starting staff. Maybe too many starters. They have 6 starters. Whether they will trade one.
Ojeda now is very unhappy. Oh, Doc Edwards, your old buddy there, Seaver.
Yep, Doc Edwards, former manager of the Cleveland Indians last year, now a coach with the Mets.
Walk him out. Oh, what an inning for Chuck Carey. 3 up, 3 down, middle of the first. The Mets nothing, and the Yankees coming to bat.
back at Yankee Stadium. We move to the bottom of the first inning, and the lineup for the New York Yankees here. Steve Sax leads it off, plays second base. Alvaro Espinosa at short. Don Mattingly in the number 3 spot, playing first base. Mel Hall in left field. He's in the cleanup spot today. Dave Winfield is the DH. Roberto Kelly hits 6th. He's a center fielder. Jesse Barfield in right. Rick Cerrone does the catching. Mike Flowers at third base, and they'll taking their whacks today at Sid Fernandez. Of course, the game yesterday snowed out. This was to be a 2-game series. A game yesterday postponed at Shea Stadium, a home-and-home series between the Mets and the Yanks, and Sid Fernandez was scheduled to pitch yesterday. All the pitching has been backed up, and the Yanks will have a shot at what a lot of people consider was probably pitched better than any other left-hander in the National League last year, in Sid Fernandez. A very unorthodox delivery, gets down and almost gets underneath the ball, and the ball will really take off. A lot of times they've had him on the radar gun scooter, and a lot of people think that he throws extremely hard. It's not necessarily the case. He gets a different trajectory to home plate, and what the Yankees are going to have to do is to lay off of that high fastball from the letters up, because that is a very effective pitch. You'll see a lot of fly balls off Fernandez.
And a lot of strikeouts, too. They're starting to get those Ks up there for him. Here's Steve Sax. What a year he had for the Yankees last year. You saw his numbers right down there. In the spring, he had a great spring. Batted .395. Ball one. Outstanding leadoff man. Do a lot of things. Get on base a lot. A lot of base hits. Does walk and then can steal a base. That's that pitch you were talking about. You know, really, you can see it rise from here. Got to start it just a little bit lower, but he's got kind of a short fuse. Gets a little upset with himself.
He does exactly that, get upset, frustrated with himself.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say he's his own worst enemy, but he is a wealth of talent, a beautiful arm.
Good pitch there. Right one, 2-1.
Sax being very patient, which is exactly what that leadoff hitter should do. Make the pitcher show that he can throw strikes. Amazing when they see a leadoff hitter go up there in the first inning of a guy that is not reputed to have great control, swing at the first pitch over his
Pop
head.
it up. Oh, managers get gray hair. Just missed. Fernandez wanted that one. 3-1.
Throw by all right, Steve Sax should be taking in this situation. Make Fernandez throw strikes.
Now, if this were a regular season game, I'd say yes. But right now, I think Bucky Dent's interested in letting them take their swings. And a lot of people might not take this game seriously, but as you mentioned, Tom, the fans certainly are.
I think the fans, the media and the fans take this game much more seriously than the players do.
Absolutely.
I think it's a more important game to the fans. You know, who's going to win? Are the Mets going to win? Are the Yankees going to win? Who's going to have bragging rights? I think that's the biggest aspect of it. You know, Davey Johnson is laughing in a sense. It is not a game that goes on the record. They leave here. They've got an opening. They have an opening game tomorrow at Shea Stadium. The Yanks, of course, go on and open on Tuesday night in Cleveland.
And a base hit. That's why Sax is so tough as a hitter, Tom. I bet you didn't like to pitch too much against guys like that didn't swing too hard and you couldn't fool them too much.
Well, he's in a great situation there. 3-1. He gets to see Fernandez throw a fastball. He knows he's going to get the same pitch fastball again. 3-2. He can just sit on a fastball, and he is a dead fastball hitter. If he gets ahead in the count when he's in a cripple situation, and certainly in that situation, Steve Sax leading off a game 3-2 is a cripple situation for him. You know he's going to hit the ball hard somewhere.
All right, that's exactly what happened. So, Sax is on, and the batter now, Espinosa. And there's the bunt. It's a dandy. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. He could have got him at second. He bunted a little harder than he would have liked. And Marshall, who is no gazelle at first base, had a chance for the fourth at second. Thought better of it. Hey, it's number 13. That wasn't his number last year. What's going on here? Uh-oh. That was Bucky Dent's number, the one he had last year. a little too hard with that push bunt, but he is an excellent, but he's the best bunter on the Yankees. Maybe
Well, that's why he's batting in the number 2 spot.
Uh-huh.
Get the runner over in a scoring position and give you an idea of the kind of game the Yankees are going to play. They're going to move individuals to scoring positions, move the runner up. Espinosa will be called on to sacrifice a lot. So we get our first look at Don Mattingly here with a runner in scoring position.
Inside ball one. He will have to do that, and he is an excellent hit and run man. Talking about Espinosa. Mattingly had probably one of the best springs he's ever had. And he didn't have a bad year last year. 303, 23 homers, 113 RBIs, though he didn't consider it.
Yeah, he scuffled early, but he did have a good spring. Had 3 home runs in spring training.
Yep. And ripped to right center, but right there is Miller, and he makes the catch. Oh, Mattingly lines out to center field. 2 men out.
Number 27, Mel Hall.
And some people wonder why Bucky Dent in the first inning would be sacrificing trying to get a runner to second base. Why not hit and run? Why not play aggressively at first? There's really a trend, a thought, excuse me, for managers, people in baseball, to get on the scoreboard first.
I go for that.
Now, yeah, but do you go away from getting the single run, or do you take a chance of having a big inning, of maybe closing the team out?
I'm from the old school. Well, it's not so old because they like to have big innings in the old days. I like to get that first run of this. Sort of changes the complexion and how the other team can attack you early on in the game. Now, here's a guy who had a great spring, Mel Hall. He opened a lot of eyes, batted .407, batting against both right-handed and left-hand pitching. 2 out, no score here in the bottom of the first. Outside, 2-0.
Well, he's let it be known that he wants to play every day. He wants his bat in the lineup.
You know, I'm glad to see that. You know, you hear
Well, they
things.
need another left-handed bat.
Oh, yeah, I
badly.
know.
I mean, Don Mattingly got a chance to see no strikes at all during the year because of the Yankees predominantly a right-hand hitting team.
Oh, he jammed him. Good thing he
Changes
didn't
the
hit
whole complexion of this team when you put Mel Hall in the middle of the lineup in here, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Here's one of your pitches, Seaver, which is unfair to a hitter, right in the
Yeah, see that lead elbow?
Yeah.
See that front elbow? One of the things I used to pick up when I used to throw would be the front elbow of the hitter and throw right at the elbow.
Oh, you're mean.
No, not to hit it. That's kind of a target. You know, I mean, that's because that's all, his left elbow's almost in the strike zone. Look at, see his right elbow there?
And that's fouled off, and let's see if it's out of play. Yep, back in the seats. 2-2. I really like that. So that's what a pitcher looks at, huh?
Well, certain pitchers will pick different areas. Some will throw to the glove, some will throw to the plate, some will throw at certain parts of the hitter. When I was throwing inside, if I was throwing from the belt up, I used to try and pick the lead elbow, the front elbow of the hitter.
Boy, that would handcuff
Well, that's, you know,
him.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You look how far you have to get the bat out front to get the good part of the bat on the ball, if in fact you're throwing in the area of that elbow.
All right, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. And fouled back out of play. There's one of the first souvenirs of the year. The Yankee fans down there. Big Dave Winfield on deck. Had a rough spring, but anybody who had an operation like he did got to take it a little easy if you feel you can swing free and easy. Oh, ripped to right field, but right at the right field. Almost over his head. Man, he hung a curveball, and Hall jumped on it, but not quite high enough. Nothing across, 1 man left, end of 1. It's the Mets nothing and the Yankees nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the New York Yankees and WPIX and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game or any segment thereof without the written consent of the New York Yankees is prohibited.
It's got to be a Met fan.
He had his choice of seats. Look what he took, huh? Boy, oh boy. We have a mixed bag of umpires, National League and American League, today working this game between The Mets and the Yanks at home. Steve Palermo, of course, the American League umpire. Outstanding umpire at first is Fred Brocklander. Greg Koss got second, and Big John McSherry at third. That brings up Big Darryl Strawberry, and he put some show on in batting practice.
Kidding?
Woo! He was hitting off of Buddy Harrelson, but I mean, he put some show on.
And the upper deck jump. Woo! Fans, though, don't seem too appreciative of the fact he's getting a few Bronx raspberries as he comes up. A little low, ball one. Told you Strawberry had a great spring, 444, 2-0. 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. Just had a terrible year last year, and he had all those problems, of course. He was in rehab, but he seems like an altogether different man. Foul back, 2-1.
The Met coaching staff talked about it. He really seems to have a different attitude, a much more mellow attitude.
Yeah.
Much more dedicated work ethic when he comes to work. He just seems to have everything on track.
Oh, there's that same pitch right in on the hand. Man, that's a good pitch.
Scooter, you don't like that pitch, do you?
No, especially
in the cold weather, huh?
Oh, those pitches let they hit you and you sound...
Look at that, right at that elbow. You have to collapse the hands, reduces the bat speed.
If he did hit it, he'd break the bat and get struck him out. I tell you, that pitch prior to this one kind of shook him up a little bit, I think. He did not have a good swing at that.
You're talking about making a great pitch. The pitch before, the fastball inside, where Darryl had to collapse his arms.
Yep.
And then that sets up the breaking ball away. Look how Darryl is still looking
Yeah.
inside. Because Carey overmatched him inside, and then Darryl was still protecting on the inside part of the plate. The breaking ball away, and Darryl, his rear end was gone, as they say.
It really was. So that's 3 strikeouts now for Chuck Carey, and the first one of McReynolds is a strike. He had an outstanding spring, 478, 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. On the inside corner, man. He is hitting the inside corner against right-handed and left-hand batters. All right, let's see. He slipped off the mound on that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You see the 2-strike pitch, the screwball, he just tried to overthrow it.
Boy, what, did Spikes get caught?
No, I think he just tried to overthrow it. Tried to throw it too hard. Would have been a setup. Another screwball, a soft one here, would be a pretty good pitch.
Foul back in the upper deck. Would you ever shake the catcher off in a spot like this, Seaver?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
You feel like you got him set up for a certain
Sure.
pitch.
Sometimes you shake a catcher off and go around and get the same pitch.
Oh,
yeah.
Tricky.
Everything.
Isn't this something? Cerrone's 3rd trip back as a Yankee, and 35 years old, had an outstanding spring, and of course Guerin a little upset, but he had a bad arm. High fly to right field. That's trouble, but foul ball. Wynn got a hold of that, or Barfield didn't get a good jump either way.
The Mets really pretty a club with not too many questions. It's a matter of whether they are going to produce or not, whether they are going to bounce back from what was a very disappointing year for them last year. Pretty set lineup. They have good pitching. John Franco, an acquisition over the winter from the Cincinnati Reds in their bullpen.
Yeah, they got Viola
Starting
late
staff.
in the year,
Well,
right?
they should have a good ball club.
Line, right-eye. Blowers, and there are 2 men out.
Number 6, Mike Marshall.
The Yankees, on the other hand, a couple of question marks. That's one of them at third base. Will Blowers be able to handle the situation? Will he play defensively well enough to
Yeah, that's the question.
play every day in the big
Yeah,
leagues? That's a
right.
question. There are question marks. Will Dave Winfield's back? Will he be
Right.
productive at 38 years old, missing a year back from surgery? The Yanks, a ball club with some questions.
All right. I got a question for you. Here's a guy I don't know too much about. Watt, like, how would you set him? Of course, he's left-handed carry, but Marshall has a good year, and then he has a bad year, and I know he's got
He has
power.
had back problems.
Uh-huh.
He has had physical problems. He has good power to the opposite field.
Oh, look at that kid. Nice play, Espinosa. Tough chance, too, I'll tell you. 3 up, 3 down at the end of an inning and a half. It's the Mets nothing, the Yankees nothing, and we're now going to pause for station identification.
Some new coaches for the New York Yankees under Bucky Dent. Beginning his first full season as the Yankee manager. At third is Joe Sparks. Mike Ferraro over at first base. Champ Summers will continue as the hitting coach. Champ was with Bucky. Champ was talking about Dave Winfield before the game, saying that he is free and easy. It's just a matter of timing, things falling into place. It is not going to be easy. That there is an athlete that can get it done at 38 after a year off.
Whoa.
Scooter, he's one of them. He is a fine athlete. He is one of the finest all-around athletes to ever play the game of baseball.
He's got a tough road ahead of him. It's got to be a little tender and a little scary to take that full swing. He's only had one hit since spring training started. Woo. Ball one. Steve Palermo behind the plate, as Tom told it. You know what? It's a good thing you said we've got some National League umpires. I was going to say, who is Fred Brocklander? Not familiar with the National League. Ooh, the first one might have called a strike, second one a ball, so they just reversed it. 1-1.
Dave Winfield has always been very animated at the plate. Reaction here, you see when Palermo punches it up. Watch David's head. He genuflects and he can't believe it. Ooh, holy, my.
Oh, he had...
That's a great pitch. There's the big off-speed pitch by
man, he
Fernandez.
almost fell down, Dave. He had kicking that leg up and leaning forward. And,
I want to see him swing the bat.
yeah.
I want to see how he swings the bat here. If he's looks like he's going to let it go. He looks free and easy at home plate.
When you say let it go, you mean let it fly out of his hands?
No, like you said,
Oh.
feel comfortable swinging.
Oh. Yep. We didn't get a look at his swing that time. A little unhappy, Dave, with a couple of pitches there.
Kelly, center field, number 39.
Big soft curveball the pitch before, and there the hard slider down and in. That's a pretty good pitch by Fernandez.
Pitch. See, he had him tied up too. That. Oh, look at that. Actions speak louder than words. Here's Roberto Kelly. Takes a strike. Roberto Kelly had an outstanding year last year. Batted over 300, had a good spring, hit 294, foul back, 0-2.
We talked a little bit before, Scooter, about some of the question marks that the Yankees have, some of the questions that have to be answered. We have to wait for answers. A couple that you don't have to worry about. One of them is Roberto Kelly in center,
yes.
Espinosa at short, Sachs at second, Mattingly at first. Solid, top-notch major league players. I think this is a ball club. The biggest question mark for me is the starting pitching.
Yep.
I mean, how is the starting pitching going to come together for Bucky Dent and his pitching staff? There you see Billy Connors on Bucky's right, camera left. Champ Summers, the hitting coach, on Bucky's left. But that's the biggest question mark. How is the pitching going to come together? And I think, as opposed to last year at this time, I think the potential for a good pitching staff is there.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's much better. The addition of Pascual Perez, who can pitch. He is a good pitch. Tim Leary,
Yeah.
who came over from Cincinnati. There's Mark Connor and Dave Righetti.
Now, Righetti is a question mark in the sense that is he happy, unhappy? One day he says, I want to be traded. The next day he says, no, he wants to stay. Bouncer to third in the short. And Elster, good on, throws him out 2 away.
Number 29, Jesse Barfield, right field. Number 29.
Dave was married, and I saw where he played in that tournament you played in, Seaver, that old, what was it, Bing Crosby or the...
They don't call it the Bing Crosby anymore. I think they call it the AT&T or something.
Yeah, right. I don't know why I never got invited out there. I used to hit all the time, but no, they wouldn't invite me. Good curveball, strike one. Now here's Art Barfield. Is he a question mark, or is he? It's got to be a little bit of a question mark.
No, I think it is somewhat of a question mark in a sense. A lot of strikeouts last year.
Yeah. Not as
and
outfield.
a 230
player.
average. No, beautiful defensive player. You know you're going to get great defense from him. But are you going to get more contact? It doesn't make any difference on those pitches. Nobody's going to hit those 2 pitches. Were outstanding.
Well, I mean,
that is right on the black, right on the knees. You don't have to worry about that one. You're not going to. If you get those pitches and hit 234, you're doing a pretty good job.
Oh man, right on. And it did.
You're not going to hit any. You might not even hit 200 on those pitches.
2 out, no score here in the bottom of the second. Struck him out, that high fastball. 3 up, 3 down at the end of 2. On the Upjohn Company scoreboard, it's the Mets nothing and the Yankees nothing.
Buddy Harrelson, the third base coach for the New York Mets under Davey Johnson. Buddy of long association with the Mets, and over at first base for New York, Mike Cubbage, who managed at AAA. There's Fred Brocklander right there, talking to Mike Cubbage for you, Scooter. Cubbage was a manager last year at Tidewater. I know people talk to him about him being a major league manager as they do Buddy Harrelson.
Yeah, I've read about that. That's quite a compliment, eh?
Barry Lyons.
Of course, the Mets let some of their coaches go. A lot of flap last year. The Mets did not play well at the end of the year. The arguments between Darryl Strawberry and the manager Davey Johnson, and some of the coaches were let go. Well, a fairly new coaching staff for Johnson and the New York Mets.
All right, Chuck Carey starts Barry Lyons off with an off-speed pitch in for a strike. I guess they were both shot, first and third base coach. I know Bill Robinson was shot.
Sam Perlazzo was
he also
fired. Yep.
I remember when Robinson broke in.
Didn't take him. Sam Perlazzo got a job with Lou Piniella in Cincinnati.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Great. How about Robinson? Did he?
I think he is going to do some of the television work for the Mets, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
I think.
But I remember when he broke in with the Yankees when he came in. They had high expectations for him too. I think they built him up a little too much, and pressure and trying too hard really hurt him. Oh, he's going to be on ESPN now. So
I pitched against Bill Robinson when my first year, and he was one of the Yankee phenoms. I don't know I don't remember if he played for Richmond or Syracuse. He came out of I think the Atlanta Braves organization. Anyway, he is no longer here.
No. He thought he had to manage his job, but not with the Mets, but with Houston or somebody else didn't materialize. Lyons looks like he has been named the #1 catcher, and Mackey Sasser is not happy about that.
Well, we talked about the Mets not having many questions. I think that is, if there was a question mark on the ball club, is their catching.
Yep.
Gary Carter, of course, is gone. Can Lyons hit well enough? Can he catch well enough to be an everyday catcher in the big leagues? That's one of the unanswered questions for the Mets. They don't have many.
No, but you mentioned when you're up there not playing day in and day out, most of the times you do a lot better. But when you're in there every day, and they get to learn your weakness, and they see it, they work on those pitches are relentless. Word gets around, they got that. They have a special club, Dave, for pitchers. As soon as one guy gets a weakness, some kind of a pipeline, everybody knows it.
When you see a weakness, the pitchers will attack it if they're paying attention. You're right.
2-2 the count. Foul back off the upper deck. But it's not a bad crowd for such a cool day. So many fans have come out here. Good. I mean, the real Yankee fans that are here all the time. Like Joe Manfredi and Jack Grew. They're here with a big group. And look at that. Yankee Stadium really looks good. They worked on the stadium all winter. Center and whoa! Mel Hall makes the catch. He was going nonchalant then and started to take off, but he made the play. That's what counts. One away.
Number 21, Kevin Elston, the shortstop.
Lyons turned on that high fastball. He just fouled one back the pitch before. He hit it a little bit harder than Mel Hall thought he hit it.
Yeah. Did you see where they're? A lot of the outfielders are getting upset. They're going to measure the gloves now.
Finally.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
they look like
just got
bushel
bigger
baskets.
and bigger and bigger.
That one looked pretty big. I think that Mel Hall just caught that one with. Kevin Elst to the batter. Strike one. Elster started off like a house afire last year, then cooled off quite a bit. An outstanding shortstop, like Espinosa. 1-1. One man out. Strike two. Both pitches hitting those corners. That one might have been a little bit outside, but pretty close. Line right at Sachs. One hopper. 2 out.
How'd you like hitting in cold weather, Scooter?
I hated it. I detested it.
Number 45,
I mean, I would try to get out of games in cold weather. My hands stung. You pitches showed no mercy.
Do you think hitters hit better in cold weather
No.
or not?
No.
How's that for an average?
Let's see. It's hot hitting, right? 90 plus 10.
And 90 degrees plus,
Yeah.
hitters hit 263, 80, 80, 90, hit 263 down. Below 60, he hit under 250.
I believe that. I thought it'd be lower than that.
Home runs per game, an interesting aspect. And I know I love to pitch in cold
I was
weather.
just going to ask you that, because some pitchers don't. They say they can't feel the ball. High fly. Espinosa waves everybody away, and Carey is retired the first time in his face. At the end of 2.5, the Mets nothing and the Yankees nothing.
Chuck Carey, after retiring 9 in a row for New York, one of the things that has to happen for this club to be successful is to give that youngster a chance to really pitch in the big league. Give him 20 starts in a row. Put him in that rotation. Right with Perez and Tim Leary and Hawkins, and let him go. The more he pitches, the more self-control and the more control of the emotions he's going to have. I think he can only get better. He has a fine arm and a good idea about pitching. Billy Connors has done a wonderful job with him.
Yeah, I always liked him. Boy, he's a bulldog out there on the mound.
Rick Cerone.
I like pitchers. If a guy gets a base hit off me, he gets mad. I don't like pitchers that smile if you get a base hit. Rick Cerone. Boy, he had one great year with the Yankees. Had an outstanding year with the Red Sox. Let's hope he's got another one left. Seton Hall flash. Ball one.
Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre. Stottlemyre, of course, the pitching coach for the Mets. The luxury of 6 really established starters.
It looks like his son is wrapped up. Line line right at the third baseman. Howard Johnson, a self-defense, caught that one. The wrong line's out.
Number
His
24.
son's got a lot of his ball moves. Todd Stottlemyre.
Third base. Number 24.
Talking about cold weather, there's Mel Stottlemyre, his boy pitching in the Toronto Blue Jays organization.
He's going to be definitely one of their starters. I think he's supposed to open the season. All right, here's Mike Blowers. He had a good year hitting this spring. I should say a good spring, not a good year. But a little shaky in the infield, made 5 errors in spring training.
Talking before about cold weather, Scooter.
Yeah.
Man, really cold weather. This is a beautiful day today. I mean, it's 50, what, 53, 50, right, you know, in the 50, 55
Right.
degree range here. Now, that's
Right.
not, that's, you wouldn't consider that
No,
cold
no,
weather.
no. That's not too shabby.
And you know, you can get early in the season, you can get some games in the 30 degree mark.
Oh, yeah.
33 degree. I've pitched a couple of games like that. Here's a shot of the stadium. It's beautiful. Clouds and
In the shade. And
some sunshine, and in the shade, a little chilly, and
Yeah.
the sun quite warm. Pitched some games. Oh, in Montreal, other places early in the season, Detroit, when it was about 35 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And I know hitters hated the pitch on the inside
No,
part of the
that's
plate.
right. All right,
And they
now-
protected inside, and you could throw the ball in off the plate inside and then get them out of the way. They had to protect so much inside.
And you very seldom get your best cuts anyway. But how would you feel it's going to affect the pitchers, the shortened season, the spring training season? I know everybody's different. Some guys don't need as much time as others, but I think pitchers need more time than anybody. Foul back.
I said a little bit in the opening of the show, I think it's more has to do with age than it has anything else. I think the older pitchers, the older players are going to be affected more from the shortened spring training. It's a lot different, and you know it's a lot different than it was when I started playing in 1967, or when you were a player. These guys are working all year round on baseball.
Yep.
And when I started, baseball players used to go home and work in the winter.
Yep. Oh, yeah. He struck him out with a good curveball. Beautiful pitching duel here, but that's true. Everybody had to go out and get a job.
People went home and worked in the winter. See a shot of Fernandez, the slow breaking ball. Boy, he looks like he's in midseason form. And both pitchers today have had excellent control right on the corner of the plate. There you see Lyon set up and Palermo ringing it up. That's a third strikeout for Fernandez so far in this game. But you know, Scooter, players used to go home and get jobs. Now there is so much money in the game. This is really like a year-round job, year-round profession.
And they do keep themselves naturally in much better shape. They've got all the new equipment.
This thing about, that's right, thing about going to spring training, they only had 2 weeks of spring training. You know, these guys in California, they've been, from January 1st, they've been hitting 7,500 swings a day. You think Steve Sachs has been home
No, that's
playing
right.
checkers, or has he been working?
Ground ball is short. Elster throws him out. Oh, 3 up, 3 down. And on the Citicorp scoreboard at the end of 3, it's the Mets nothing and the Yankees nothing.
We go to the top of the 4th inning here at Yankee Stadium. Chuck Carey's still on the mound. George, welcome to the booth and welcome back.
Great to be back, Tommy. And a reminder, baseball's back. And here's the pitch. The Yankees host the Cleveland Indians in their home opener this Thursday afternoon. Billy Joe Martin's going to throw out the first pitch in honor of his father, and game time set for 1 o'clock. Tickets for this Thursday's stadium opener still available. You can purchase the tickets for opening day and for all Yankee home games at the stadium's advanced ticket windows and through Ticketmaster. For more information, call the Yankee ticket office at 212-293-6000 or Ticketmaster at 212-307-7171. That's opening day at the stadium this Thursday afternoon when the Yankees host the Indians at 1 o'clock. And it's safe to say there was a point in time, Tom, where we didn't know whether we'd have an opening day this year.
Well, with the weather,
The second baseman.
this is probably about when we would have started the season anyway. How about yesterday morning waking up and finding about 4 inches of snow on the ground?
It's ironic with the way the weather has been.
You probably wouldn't have gotten much baseball in.
Maybe
Not the
half
Northeast.
of.
Yeah,
That's about it.
if you were lucky. Chuck Carey here in his 4th inning of work against the Mets. He's retired 9 in a row. Greg Jeffries leading off the game for New York, a strikeout victim. Both Carey and Fernandez extremely sharp today, George.
Chuck Carey started the day. He's been under the weather. He had a touch of that flu bug. And he didn't know before the game how long he'd be able to go. Bucky Dent told him, just go out there, throw as long as you can and as well as you can. And he's come up with an outstanding performance, probably his best performance of the spring.
They check the swing. Fred Brockladner at first base says no, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike against Jeffries. You see a shot from our camera on top, and he did hold up. Yes, good call by Brocklander. Popped up on the right side. It'll be Jeffries, Miller, and Johnson, the top 3 hitters in the order for New York. No runs in the ball game so far, just 1 hit. Had a single by Steve Sachs leading off the game in the bottom of the first for the Yanks, and it's been rather quiet. Both pitchers very sharp. Both very effective up in the strike zone. A 2-2 pitch. And Jeffries again. Strikeout number 4 for Chuck Carey, and like Sid Fernandez, he looks like he's in mid-season form.
I think this is a key year for Greg Jeffries. He has said a couple of times during the course of this spring that it's like starting anew for him. He's forgetting about last year and really forgetting about when he first came up a year and a half ago, too. And Davey Johnson said he has a whole new attitude about baseball and about his teammates.
Right off of Carey's hand, and that had to hurt. High fastball, line drive by Miller up the middle, and that hit Carey right off the pitching hand. And that is not good. Gene Monahan, the trainer for the Yanks, coming out to take a look, followed by Bucky Dent. That is not good. And it's just an instinctive reaction. There's nothing that you can do really to prevent that. You see the ball, you reach for it. The ball hit on a line by Keith Miller. The first hit for the Mets off Carey. First base runner off Carey. Boy, that's hit like a rocket, and just instinctively he sticks that hand out there, George.
This is the one thing that you really don't want in a game like this, and that is any kind of an injury right before the season starts. We'll have to take another look and see if we can see exactly when it went off. They're holding the thumb area, which, let's see where Gene Monahan...
I don't see any blood. It's conceivable that you hit in there and you tear some soft tissue. It didn't look like there was any blood on Carey's hand, but it certainly looked like a bad bruise. Another shot. The first pitch to Miller, another high fastball, and he just out of camera range. Don't know if it hit on the fingertips or where it was. That was not a soft line drive. That was hit extremely hard by Miller.
It looked as if it glanced off the outside part of the hand. In other words, either the 5th, the 4th, or the 3rd finger. Really couldn't tell by that, but it just kind of flapped off. Another look at it as he walked off. Again, no blood, so it doesn't appear that...
Now look at the nail. Look at the nail there, George. That's possible. Well, we'll get a report from the Yankee training room whether the ball hit off the nail. That could really be a setback for the Yanks.
You can say all you want about what you should do, but in a situation like that, your instinct says put the hand up and try to grab the baseball.
Number 43.
It's almost like he stuck the hand up there and as he was going for it, and then instinctively knew, he said, no, this is the wrong thing to do, and pull it back. Bucky Dent, that is not good news for the Yankee manager.
Yankee fans will get a chance to take a look at Jeff Robinson for the first time here in New York, acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates in the offseason, along with fine prospect Willie Smith. Robinson came from Pittsburgh in the Don Slutt deal. He is, you can tell by the look on Bucky Dent's face, he's saying, if there's anything I didn't want, it was that. Especially with Carey pitching as well as he has been.
Well, he has a pitcher in spring training still. Pascual Perez still down in Florida, did not come north with the ball club. He had visa problems getting out of the Caribbean and was a late reporter to spring training. And And as a result, did not get enough work in. The Yankees felt to bring him north. Will stay down and pitch, boy, and he knows that he cannot afford to lose another pitcher.
That's about as much of emotion you're going to see. Bucky, you can tell,
I don't blame him. I mean,
a happy camper right now. We'll get a report from Gene Monahan and Steve Donahue in just a couple of minutes on what it appears. There's Billy Connors coming out and saying what he knows, at least to this point.
Now he's saying the first two fingers here. Now watch. It doesn't say anything about, it doesn't look like Billy's pointing to his nails. Fingernails. Looks like he's talking about the meat or fleshy part of the fingertips. The first two fingers, which are the most important for the pitcher, as opposed to the outside two fingers on the pitching hand.
We said it at the end of last year and in all spring training that the key to this Yankee team for 1990 will be pitching. They'll go as far as their pitching staff takes them, with Leary and Perez, the new additions, and of course we'll get a chance to see Robinson now. But the way Carey's been pitching, certainly he figures prominently. And there's Eric Plunk, Ray Cadaret, and there's Mills, the youngster who really has impressed everybody in camp. In fact, he won the Dawson Award as the outstanding rookie in camp. We should get a chance to look at him. The game plan for the Yankees today was to go with Carey as long as he could and then really get a look at almost everybody for an inning or so in that bullpen. So we may very well get a chance to see Alan Mills today. He is exciting, an exciting young pitcher. You had a chance to see Robinson in the National League, and I know last year was a strange year for him. He was a reliever, was a starter, was long, was short, you name it, he did it. And it really, he said, unsettled him. He did not feel comfortable. He never felt he understood his role, and a lot of that had to do with the injuries that hit the Pittsburgh staff.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Pirates were really scuffling for pitching last year. You hear that a lot about what role do I play? And I think mentally, especially for younger players, very important, the manager and the pitching coach going to a younger player and saying, this is how we want to use you. This is what we want from you during the season. This is what we expect of you. This is what we need from you, and this is the kind of role that we want you to fill on our pitching staff. Robinson had been throwing in the bullpen prior to Chuck Carey being injured with a line drive from Keith Miller, so he really had as much time as he wanted to get ready, and it looks like he is ready to go. So with one out, Howard Johnson will come to the plate. Keith Miller on first. To bring you back up to date, we are in the top of the fourth inning here at the stadium. No runs in the ball game, but one hit for each ball club. And Howard Johnson will hit with one man out. And there's somebody on the field in left center that cannot get back off the playing field. There he goes. There's no handle on the inside of that door. Somebody has to come down and let him in.
Easy to get out of, tough to get back into. By the way, in case you haven't noticed, the Yankees switched bullpens this year. They're out in the bullpen in almost straightaway center field.
Good off-speed pitch to Johnson. On Robinson's first delivery, no balls and a strike. Robinson, a big guy, 6'4", 200 pounds, was 7-13 last year for Pittsburgh, as you were talking about, George. 140 innings.
This is one of those good news, bad news scenarios for Robinson. Yes, he comes into the meat of the Mets order, but he did pitch in the National League, so he knows a little bit about Howard Johnson and Darryl Strawberry.
Big swing by Johnson again. The count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Good off-speed pitches by Robinson. Johnson, of course, had a great year last year. 36 home runs, 101 RBIs, hit .287, stole 41 bases, an MVP type of year. Time called by Steve Palermo behind home plate.
Yankees saw Palermo in 2 exhibition games in that final week, and also Brocklander. They were both in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. It's been a strange spring for the umpires, too, to try to get themselves ready.
Slowly it's a Sachs. I don't think they'll get two with the way that Johnson can run, and they don't. They get but one. They get the lead man, Miller, going to second. Good play by Steve Sachs. A ball not hit that hard. But make sure you get the lead runner.
And he realizes, too, that his chances of getting the double here are very slim, so he just makes sure of that first one, and Espinosa a good 2 steps behind in the throw to first, but very little chance at all. Ball wasn't hit hard, and Hojo runs well on top of it.
Good, solid veteran play. You know, you get the lead runner, make sure you get the one out on the weak ground ball. They'll bring up Darryl Strawberry with 2 outs. And Johnson now at first. Espinosa way over behind second base. Almost on the right field side, as you see the Yankee defense has really shifted around. Sachs way over in the hole. I don't know if you saw it, George, but Darryl put on some exhibition hitting in batting practice.
He's swinging loose. He looks comfortable. He looks happy again, and he says it's fun again. He said he learned a lot about himself in the offseason.
Well, hopefully during the rigors of the every day, during the regular championship season, he'll be able to keep himself on track. And everybody keeps waiting for him to have that explosive year, that Henry Aaron type of year, that Mickey Mantle type of year, where it all comes together. You know, the potential for a triple crown, I think that's part of the thing that athletes have to put up with when they play in New York. The expectations are immediate. And they want it now, and they want it every year. High and deep to left field, Mel Hall, right on the warning track. Strawberry showing good power to the opposite field, and he does have good power to the opposite field, but Mel Hall runs it down at the warning track. Well, the Yanks able to put the Mets out. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here at the stadium. No scores. You see Mel Hall shagging down Darryl Strawberry's long fly ball.
April 10th is opening day, and when the Yankees do battle with the Tribe, it's war. And war paint for Keith Hernandez as he makes his American League debut. Don't miss opening day when the Yankees take on the Indians. Tuesday at 7:30 on Channel 11.
Back at Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees and the Mets go into the bottom of the 4th inning. The new pitcher for the Mets will be Ron Darling. Darling with a .500 year in 1989. And as the 1990 season starts, he continues to be mentioned frequently in trade reports from both the American League and the National League, Tom.
Well, this ball club very deep in starting pitching, and I think they do have to do something. Espinosa swinging on the first pitch, pops it up, and Keith Miller puts it away for the first out here in the bottom of the 4th. I think the Mets have to do something. You have 6 quality, proven starting pitchers, and there is just not enough room for all of them to pitch. Not only are they quality pitchers from the standpoint of the kinds of records that they'll have, but the number of innings that they'll pitch as well. I mean, these are guys that'll give you 6, 7 plus innings per game. And you've got 2 guys on the staff, but both of them have won Cy Young Awards before, and Gooden and Viola. I mean, that's a pretty good start.
I get the impression, too, in talking with scouts from both the American and the National League, that this 27-man roster is giving each team a chance to look a little bit longer at what their needs are. With the shortened spring training, they haven't really had a chance to evaluate their pitching. So the trump card, when you have pitching, could be a real factor in about a week or 2.
Don Mattingly with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Ron Darling. Mattingly lined out to center field his first time up, had a very good spring, hitting .300. You can see him trying to go the other way. One thing that Champ Summers continually tries to get his hitters to do is use the entire ballpark. And Mattingly is a much better hitter when he concentrates and tries to drive that pitch on the outside part of the plate to left center. And he is a good, look at him trying to get up on top of that ball. Elster to Marshall, and there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. A lot of Met fans will remember that Ron Darling used to wear number 12. I just ran over and talked to Jay Horowitz, and I said, why does Ron Darling have number 15? He said, well, the number became available last year. He'd always wanted to wear number 15. George Foster had worn it for a while.
I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been what he wore at Yale. Just trying to remember.
At least Jay said he was struggling at the time and he just wanted to change and go back. He always wanted to wear number 15. So you often wonder. Players will say, no, I'm not superstitious. Why, after several years in the big leagues, you would go from one number to another. Mel Hall with 2 outs. Pops it up. Should be an easy play for the Met outfield, and Keith Miller puts it away. So for Ron Darling, 1, 2, 3. The Yanks go quietly in the bottom of the 4th inning. No score here at Yankee Stadium. Top of the 5th coming up.
Reminder, the American League opening days look like this for 1990. On Monday, April the 9th, Minnesota will be playing Oakland, Texas against Toronto, Chicago, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Kansas City, Seattle against California, and Detroit against Boston. That's on Monday the 9th. On Tuesday the 10th, of course, the Yankees against the Indians, and you'll see it right here on WPIX, 7:30 Eastern Time on Tuesday. By the way, the starting rotation for the Yankees has scheduled Leary against Candiotti on Tuesday, LaPointe against Black on Wednesday, and Perez against Farrell on Thursday. Back here.
Top of the 5th inning here at the stadium. No score. Kevin McReynolds, Mike Marshall, and Barry Lyons for the Mets against Jeff Robinson in relief of Chuck Carey. Carey being hit on the hand by a line drive by Keith Miller. And McReynolds is out on strikes. No runs in the ballgame, only 2 hits, singles for each individual team. And the off-speed pitch, McReynolds goes fishing, which he loves to do, and comes up empty.
Both for real and at the plate, too.
That's right. He is some fisherman. Mike Marshall, who the Mets picked up from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Mets have talked about wanting another big right-handed bat in their lineup. They've got it. This guy has good power to the opposite field, but pops this one up to Mattingly in the first, and very quickly 2 outs here.
By the way, Tom, in the National League, this is the way the openers shape up. Montreal against the Cardinals, Philadelphia against the Cubs, San Diego against the Dodgers, Cincinnati against Houston, and, of course, Pittsburgh against the Mets. In that one, it'll be Gooden against Drabek, the start of the series. Then on Tuesday, San Francisco against Atlanta. By the way, the Atlanta Braves picked up Phil Lombardi from the Mets yesterday when he was not included on their roster. Lombardi, of course, former Yankee property.
Barry Lyons 0 for 1. He lined to Mel Hall in the 3rd inning, his first time up off of Chuck Carey. Really turned on that high fastball. A good high fastball hitter. What a funny schedule, huh? You go to Cleveland for 2 days, come back here and play Cleveland one more day. An afternoon game.
It's going to be nice and warm in Cleveland on Tuesday night, I'm sure.
Scooter is going to bring his Long Johns, he said.
He's going to bring everything he's got in his wardrobe. Cora's already packed it.
Lions taking on 3-0, and the count goes to 3-1.
You know, we
wondered, when do you think he'd swing there? You think Johnson would give him a bit chilly here at the stadium in some spots if you're not sitting in the sun. He lets it go that time and pops it up to right field. Tough play for Mattingly. Don't get hurt in spring training. I get the feeling Don Mattingly only knows one way to play, don't you? Don't get hurt.
He has said for the last 2 weeks that, of course, he wants to get his contract situation ironed out by opening day. We have about a day and a half remaining to do that, and every time somebody walks past Mattingly, or every time there's one or two people gathered in the Yankee clubhouse or in the front office, everybody wants to know, is it coming? Has the word come down? Is the contract signed?
3-2 to Lions. He strikes him out. Good job by Robinson. The Mets here in the fifth go quietly 1-2-3. No score here at the stadium, and we're now going to pause for station identification. The bottom of the fifth inning here at Yankee Stadium. Still no score and a very quick ball game. It'll be Dave Winfield, Roberto Kelly, and Jesse Barfield to face Ron Darling. Yanks are going to get a look at three of the starting pitchers for the New York Mets. Sid Fernandez pitched beautifully the first 3 innings. Ron Darling in his second inning of work, and then we are scheduled to see David Cone as well. So we'll see 3 of the 5 starting pitchers for the New York Mets. We will not see Frank Viola. We will not see Dwight Gooden. Winfield, we see him swing the bat for the first time and just missed it. He let it go, George. He had a good, aggressive swing at that. I don't know, John, if you can show that again. That's one of the things we're looking for, is how aggressive he is on the swing and whether there is anything tentative in his swing, and it certainly does not look like it.
Of course, Dave Winfield coming off all of last year on the shelf with the back operation, and he has not been hitting in spring training and has not made good contact in spring training. He hit .038 in Florida, and the questions have to come. He has said all along that he will be ready.
That was a good aggressive swing. He let that go. I mean, there does not look like there's anything physically wrong with him, as if he is protecting anything or whatever. And for a guy that's 38 years old, did not play last year, you're not going to walk out there and pick it up. Just like you put the bat down 2 weeks ago. I mean, he's been away from the game for over, 12, 17 months. That's a big comeback, especially for a veteran and older player.
When we look at the question marks that the Yankees have for 1990, certainly that one is right up at the top. Will Winfield be a factor at the plate? Will he be able to do what he always did in the outfield?
Roberto Kelly pops it up, and a trio of New York Mets surrounded, and again, it's Keith Miller in center field, so quickly 2 outs here for 2 in the fifth.
Another new center fielder for the Mets this year, so you know there's going to be a period of time before they get comfortable with Keith Miller in center, and who will take charge? He does. Jeffries says,
I think one picture worth 1,000 words. You could see who was taking charge there, were you?
That's a question mark for the Mets, too. There is no secret that they've been looking for a center fielder. They courted Ellis Burks last year. The rumors continue that they're after Tony Gwynn of San Diego, and they have the pitching that San Diego wants. I think this is a period, the month of April, where Keith Miller will have the chance to demonstrate, first, if he can take over in center field, and second, if he can do it at the plate. We talked to Davey Johnson about that situation. And he indicated that he's just going to give him a chance to play.
Right back to Darling, so Darling throws Jesse Barfield out. The Yanks again go 1-2-3. Darling has retired 3 in a row. After 5 innings of play, there is no score. There are but 2 singles in this ball game, and this is a typical end of spring training game. Play and get out of here. No score at the stadium. Jeff Robinson does a good job for the Yanks in relief of Chuck Carey, and a new pitcher for the New York Yankees, Lee Guterman. George?
What an outstanding year he had in 1989, and if you added up everybody in the Yankee bullpen and said who was the one individual that was the most consistent from start to finish, it would have to be this big guy. His earned run average 2.45, and the innings pitched and the hits ratio and his strikeouts, he was there all season long when the Yankees needed him. If you remember, he started last year going 20 outings before he finally allowed a run. And he pitched career high number of appearances. And I asked him, I said, did you notice a difference in the offseason in terms of recovery? And he said, you know, I didn't even pick up a ball until well after the first of the year, and then started to work little by little. And he said it took a little bit longer to get back to where I wanted to be for spring training.
Kevin Elster on the first pitch, a ground ball to Espinosa. Boy, and I'm telling you, I looked around, look at Scooter back here. He's just shaking his head. He just makes, every day you watch this kid, he just makes a bigger and bigger believer out of you. Look at him, as graceful as he is. Two fine shortstops on the field today. Elster is no slouch himself, but Espinosa, I mean, he is just moving himself right in the ranks with the Fernandezes and everybody else that plays a top-flight shortstop.
He does exactly what you have to do in the given situation. There he had time to circle the ball and be heading towards first base, towards the inside of the infield to make his throw, which made that throw a lot easier instead of throwing across his body.
The thing about him is that he's such an ornery person, though, isn't he?
Not a nicer guy
Such
around.
a bad disposition all the time. Mark Carrion, the hitter for the Mets, with one out here in the top of the sixth, no score. It's been Chuck Carey, Jeff Robinson, and now Lee Guterman for the Yanks. Carey has been hit on a line drive by Keith Miller in the fourth inning, had to leave the game. We do not have a report on that injury as yet. We saw Billy Connors after he had come out of the training room, the Yankee pitching coach, and talking to Bucky Dent. It looked like it hit him on the fleshy or the pads of the first two fingers on his pitching hand, so hopefully not too serious. Carry in a ground ball to Flowers at third, and quickly for Lee Guterman, a couple of ground outs, and that's exactly what he wants. A short to third and a short to first, and third base to first.
Wearing Ricky Henderson's old number, Mike Flowers has been given the third base job, and it's his to lose for the month of April. He has hit well in spring training, hit the long ball, 3 home runs, made a couple of errors.
Greg Jeffries, the hitter, with 2 outs, and the breaking ball, strike 1 by Guterman. Guterman has pitched but 4 2/3 innings so far this spring. This is his 4th appearance. Bucky Dent trying to give his staff some work, and now a ground ball right back to Lee. Should get him easily, and does, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Lee Guterman. Still but a couple of hits in the ball game. We're done with 5.5 innings here at the Yankee Stadium between the Mets and Yanks. No score.
Back at Yankee Stadium, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. No score. 1 hit for each ball club. And Rick Cerrone, Mike Flowers, and Steve Sachs due up against Ron Darling. And boy, Cerrone has had a tremendous spring. He looks like he's in the best shape we've seen him in a couple of years now.
Well, he hit over 300 in spring training. Over 1 here today. A line shot to third base. Nothing like a veteran catcher. I hate to say it, but I was spoiled in my career. I had 3 of the best in the business. A ball and a strike to Cerrone. Started out with Jerry Grody, went over to Cincinnati, had Johnny Bench, and ended up in Chicago with Carlton Fisk.
And
3
Pudge
pretty good ones.
going.
And Pudge's still going. I missed Bob Boone and a couple others, but I had 3 pretty good ones. Ron Darling in his 3rd inning of work here at the stadium just got in on him. Just above the label, and a lazy fly ball to Keith Miller, who has been very busy in center field today for the Mets. 1 out, that'll bring up Mike Flowers. This is the 4th meeting between the Mets and the Yanks this year. 3 times in Florida they played. The Mets have a 2-1 edge. The Mets were 7-5 in spring training. The Yanks were 5-8 in the games that they played in Florida. Mets and the Yankees have played 82 times since the New York Mets came into existence, and the Yanks holding 36-27 edge over the New York Mets. There's Dwight Gooden. He will open tomorrow for New York at Shea Stadium. What's the report, George?
Chuck Carey, a bruised index and middle finger on his left hand. X-rays have been taken. The X-rays negative. There is no break that has shown up to this point. They will check it again in the morning. They're icing the hand down right now.
Check swing by Flowers, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Darling with a good fastball, good breaking ball, and the split finger pitch, which is his strikeout pitch. That's good news on Carey. The worst, of course, the worst case probably be a broken bone, but on top of that, too, if he'd hit a fingernail, whoo, boy, those are nasty. Right back to Darling, who is a good athlete and a fine fielding pitcher, and Flowers is now 0 for 2 on the day.
Steve Sax regarded as one of the real bright spots of the Yankees a year ago. How bright? Well, according to Stats Baseball Scoreboard, when you look at the top 15 pitchers in the American League and the top 15 pitchers in the National League, the top 15 pitchers in all of baseball, this is how Steve Sax fared against them last year. Howard Johnson also had 270 average. Don Mattingly 270. That's against the best, the cream of the crop. And Sax had 311 average.
You know what's interesting about that? What I feel. Steve Sax a leadoff hitter. The other guys are middle of the order hitters. And I tell you what good pitchers will do. They will go out there and they will make this guy get on base. They will not walk him. And he'll get pitches to hit, but they will let him get himself out, but they will not give him first base for free. He's going to have to get base hits. He's going to get fastballs to hit at. That's one of the little innuendos behind what those numbers are talking about.
We saw the bottom of that list, too, and that was Darryl Strawberry at 162 with 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in against the best pitchers in the league. And that's the way some of the Yankees and Mets fared. Of course, when you look at the year that Sax had, he really stamped himself, not just as a great offensive player, but he had a Gold Glove year in the field for New York.
Great all around. Base running, defense, everything. Boy, he waited nicely on the breaking ball. Steve is not a good breaking ball hitter. He is an outstanding fastball hitter, an excellent high fastball hitter. But here you can see him keep his front shoulder closed and his hands back on the breaking ball. Either the curveball or the off-speed, looked like a breaking ball, not the split finger, but he waited back, had a good cut at that, a good aggressive swing. A ball, 2 strikes to Steve Sax, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. No score, but 2 singles in the ball game. So it has been a pitcher's day so far at the stadium. Oh, right back to Ron Darling, and he missed that one. Good play by Elster. No, Fred Brockbender says no. He beat it. Steve Sax hustling. Beats the throw from Elster, and I would imagine it's going to be a base hit, an infield single for Steve Sax.
It's a double clutch by Elster, not here, but behind Darling. As this ball goes through his legs, Elster's thinking he's got to make the play behind the bag, and he's circling. Now he's got to come in and charge in bare hand. He did a tremendous effort just to make that play close. Watch Sax. From the gun, he's going. What else is new? A year ago, Sax led the Yankees in multi-hit games. He does it again with 2 hits here today.
Well, I think you're going to see him run here. We've got to try and get a run with a couple of outs. Espinosa, a good hit and run man. Ron Darling, a good fielding pitcher, as we talked about before, won the Gold Glove Award last year for outstanding fielding by a pitcher in the National League. So he's a fine athlete, but did not come up with that ball from Sax. Yanks with a base runner. Sax at first. Ball, no strikes, 2 outs, and no score here in the bottom of the 6th. Espinosa sacrificed his first time up, flew out to center field his second, and they pitch out. They're looking for something to happen.
Even if it is an exhibition game, as we get to the 6th inning, now the wheels turn for both sides. Joe Sparks, the third base coach for the Yankees this year, flashing his signs, and Davey Johnson doing likewise from the Met bench. This is a time when you think regular season.
Offensively and defensively both. You can see Espinosa trying to go to right field. It's a little soft fly to Mark Carrion. Well, the Yanks get a runner and move him around with 2 outs. And on the Daily News scoreboard, the score at the end of 6. That's nothing. Yankees nothing.
The panoramic view of New York City from Yankee Stadium, and it's great to be talking baseball as we head into April, Scooter. There was a time where we were wondering if we were going to be doing it, huh?
Well, I tell you, it is scary. You know, you hate to see these things happen. It looked like both sides were so stubborn, nobody was going to give in.
Bucky Dent, Champ Summers to his left, and Joe Sparks at the tail end of the bench. Bucky a little bit more relaxed now with the word that Chuck Carey, the x-rays on his fingers, his index finger and his middle finger of his left hand were negative. There is no broken bone. It's just hopefully a little bit of a strain. They're icing the hand down now, and hopefully we'll know a little bit more tomorrow when he wakes up to see if it is still bothering him. Cadaret, the new Yankee pitcher. Carey, Robinson, Guterman have all done the job, and Greg Cadaret. Espinosa. Like poetry, huh, Scooter?
I tell you. I heard you and Tom talking about that play he made, and then the play Elster made. We've got 2 of the finest fielding shortstops in baseball here today.
New York can be proud of both of them. And a year ago, that man didn't know whether he'd last a week in the major leagues.
No, that's true.
I think inside he knew he could. He just needed the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, if they gave him the chance, he could do it.
Howard Johnson 0 for 2, struck out, grounded into a forced play. Still got the good beard and the good bat, too, to go with it, Scooter.
He's kind of like a rebel, but with a cause.
When he's got the bat in his hand, he's got a serious cause. The rumors still continue, though, that he may be shipped somewhere.
No kidding. Certain guys, every year, it's like Righetti here. Every year, Righetti's going someplace, and he ends up.
Who was like that when you played? Who always fit in that category? That
we had guys like Johnny Lindell. None of, in those days, guys who would start would play the whole 9 innings. But some of the fringe players, I mean, DiMaggio, Keller, and Henrik, there's no way you could move any of those around.
Johnson walks. That'll bring up Darryl Strawberry, and we had a chance to talk to the straw man before the game and asked him about this year and his new outlook on baseball and life.
I learned that life can be out of control if you don't watch yourself, and I would give advice to all young kids out there. Take a better direction in your life and pick better friends to accept a better life for yourself.
This club, I know you're excited about it.
Yes, I'm very excited about the club. We're very enthused about what we have to do, and we're really looking forward to the challenge. We know it's going to be a challenge to us, but, we're really not worried about what other teams are going to think about us. We have to go out there and prepare ourselves to win ball games.
He's got a big bat in that lineup, Scooter.
Yes, he has, and he sounds more convincing. Every year he says, I'm a changed man, but it didn't work. Now I think he is.
Strike 1 from Greg Cadaret. Johnson on first. No score. Top of the 7th, Yankees and Mets at Yankee Stadium. Cadaret in his first inning of work. The Yankees have gone with Carey. He went 3 1/3. No runs, 1 hit. Robinson 1 2/3. No runs, no hits. And Guterman 1 inning, no runs, no hits. Johnson can steal a base. Cadaret, of course, Scooter, now is in a position of being one of the closers for the Yankees. Righetti remains in the bullpen, too, to come in, but Cadaret's going to get a chance to show what he can do.
It's a shame there was that little mix-up and as to who was going to get the most innings. Looks like McSherry's taking off some weight, doesn't it?
There's the breaking ball, and that's the pitch that National Leaguers got Strawberry out on last year, and it makes sense to go back to the well. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Top of the 7th at the stadium. There goes Johnson. They got him picked. Espinosa, Mattingly. Hasn't been much to get up and cheer about, but Yankee fans enjoy this moment, and Met fans sprinkled around the stadium shaking their heads.
I tell you, Cadaret showed him 3 different moves there and finally got him on a 3rd one. He made up his mind. No way he could hesitate. And see how Mattingly steps to the side so he doesn't throw at the runner?
The pitch from Cadaret is a ball, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Strawberry.
It's only been 1 walk in this ball game. I mean, it's been a well-pitched game.
Shallow left. Hall won't get to it. It's a base hit. Strawberry will try for 2.
Well, maybe the Strawberry of old wouldn't have had a double. He kept rounding the bag and didn't hesitate until he saw Hall bobble the ball and made second easily.
Shows you the danger that Darryl Strawberry brings. Last time up, he went to the warning track in left field, so Hall's got to respect his power. Here he has no chance to get in. And when that one gets away, Strawberry steams into second. So the Mets have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Top of the 7th, no score. The hits even at 2 for both clubs. Kevin McReynolds up. McReynolds has lined to third and struck out.
I guess that's a double all the way. I don't see any error up there.
Blowers. The Mets threaten, but the Yankees are out of it. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees nothing, the Mets nothing. We're now going to pause for station identification. Back at Yankee Stadium, going to the bottom of the 7th inning, no score, hits even at 2. Here's a look at the Yankee 27-man roster as we go towards opening day Tuesday in Cleveland. Alan Mills, the young man who impressed everybody so much in spring training. And of course, Clay Parker added with Lance McCullers going on the disabled list after that collision at spring training. 2 catchers with the Yankees, and in the outfield and infield, Wayne Collison and Randy Velarde both in the infield. Of course, your substitute infielders, and in the outfield, Deion Sanders will make the trip north, and he was exciting in spring training.
Yeah, he had a excellent spring.
Don Mattingly takes high from David Cone, who's the new pitcher for the Mets. Fernandez goes 4, Darling goes 2, and Cone in his first inning of work. Mattingly 0 for 2 thus far.
I was glad that Deion Sanders sought out Mattingly. Got some advice from him on how to hit and how to play. Who's that, Mackey Sasser?
Mackey Sasser behind the plate.
What's that, Mackey? Why don't he make it Mickey? It just doesn't sound right, Mackey.
Want to be different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you call yourself Scooter, right?
You're right.
I mean, everybody said Mickey Sasser. Nobody ever think anything of it. You got to come up with a little...
It is. Right? You're right. All right.
Base hit, Mattingly. So after flying out to center field and grounding to short, Mattingly singles to lead off the bottom of the 7th. And Scooter, in addition to the fact he hit 300, which was impressive at spring training, this is the first spring training ever that he had more than 2 home runs. He had 3 down.
That's right, he had 3, and he said, in one of the few times he said, let's get this season started. He used to dread April.
for 2 today, but wound up strong in spring training.
And he hit the ball hard the first time up deep right field.
I think baseball fans who had heard about Mel Hall from the New York area, many of them never expected what they saw of Mel Hall in 1989. He was at the plate, did the job he was called on to do, and in the field had probably his best year ever defensively. And really, with Dave Winfield's situation still somewhat up in the air, the whole left field picture still hasn't unfolded completely.
Well,
Dribble to the right side, foul.
There's nothing Mel Hall wouldn't like better than to play against right-handed and left-hand pitching. He did pretty well against left-handed.
It depends on this man, number 31. If he comes back to his all-star form, he has a job in left field. If not, you've got Hall. You need to get him into the lineup. You want to get Balboni into the lineup as a DH. And also, I mean, let's make it clear, Deion Sanders is not a token on this roster. Bucky Dent feels he can be a factor, and so does Pete Peterson.
He's one of those exciting ball players.
0-2 pitch. What a difference for Mel Hall from a year ago, and he just joined the Yankees at this time of year in the trade with Cleveland for Joel Skinner. Inside, and you want to try to get in on Hall. You don't want him to get those arms extended.
So the Yankees are facing 3 pretty outstanding pitchers so far today. Hernandez, Darling, and Cone.
They got 6 starters, all exceptional, and you almost have to feel that one of them will go at some point in time. Everybody keeps pointing to Ron Darling because he can clearly become a #1 pitcher for somebody.
Oh, easily. And Ojeda's unhappy in the bullpen. They've relegated him.
Dave Johnson, the man that will be part of the triumvirate that makes that decision. If and when a deal comes that's to their liking. Just inside again.
Well, I don't know how he held up that time. He was ready to pull that trigger on the bat.
The breeze has changed here at the stadium. It's strong to right field right now, and you know Mel Hall notices that. Mattingly goes, strike 3, and he's safe.
Mattingly stole a base. Holy cow.
Maybe this will be a different April for number 23. I'll tell you this, Joe Sparks has worked a lot with this entire team on the running game. Hit and run, bunting. He just missed him.
He missed him. He'd have had him if he put the tag on him. But did you notice Mattingly looked towards the plate, wasted a second, and he was lucky to get in there.
So there's 1 out, but Mattingly's in scoring position, and Winfield up. Struck out and fly to left. The swing on the fly ball to left was as good as any swing he's had this spring.
Ooh, wicked pitch there. Ooh.
In the hole, 0-2.
Surprised to see Winfield still holding on to the bat after this. Ooh, look at that thing break.
Now let's see if the scenario is to come in tight on the hands. Cone can do it.
I'd throw that curve again. We got him. He did. Ooh, he tried the fastball. It was outside, but I could never figure pitches out anyway. Glad Seaver's not here. Would you think when you're throwing a good curve, make him look that bad? I'd throw it again. A little further outside.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Mattingly off second. No score. Bottom of the 7th. Back and out of play. would imagine pitchers in the American League are first going to find out if Dave Winfield can still hit the fastball.
Yeah. This is a tough pitch. He comes by the way of third base here. That's a dangerous pitch if you get it inside because it's just flat coming in.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Winfield goes down for the second time. Cone registers his second consecutive strikeout, and there are 2 outs. Another look.
I don't know what this was. He didn't have a good swing at it, but it sure moved right at the end. A little late with the swing.
When his fastball is humming, it hops, and that one certainly did. That'll bring up Roberto Kelly. Grounded to short. Fly ball to center field, 0 for 2. I'm sure as the year progresses, the debate will continue with Roberto, too, where he will fit into the lineup. Last year, he was at number 9 and started off to such a great run, and then they moved him up. This year in spring training, he spent most of the time deeper in the lineup.
It affected his batting average when they moved him up. Although I don't see why it should, unless he pressed a little bit or...
One of the great stories of the offseason, though, when the invasion of Panama came.
Man.
Roberto, who lives in Panama. 2 balls, 1 strike. Came within a whisker of trouble. He was driving in a car, and the police stopped the car, pulled him out. Another look at this. And somebody recognized him. Say,
luckily.
Aren't you Roberto Kelly of the Yankees? Those pinstripes go a long way.
I tell you, he was lucky.
He said he was scared. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mattingly at second with Elster behind him. It has been a pitcher's day at Yankee Stadium, and David Cone stays to the script. We'll go to the 8th inning at the stadium. The Yankees nothing, and the Mets nothing.
For the Yankees, number 28.
Back at Yankee Stadium, a reminder, the regular season gets underway on Tuesday, 7:30. The Yankees against the Cleveland Indians from Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. The lineup for Yankees from a pitching perspective is Leary against Candiani on Tuesday. Wednesday, LaPointe against Black, 2 left-handers. Then on Thursday, all goes well, it'll be Pascual Perez against John Farrell. Right now, it'll be Alan Mills, and Scooter, he has really opened some eyes.
Yeah, he's been a real pleasant surprise. Pitched his way onto the squad this spring.
Fort Lauderdale and Prince William last year, that was his record, 6-1 at Prince William in 26 games. He has been impressive. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, and comes right at you.
Ooh, nice, easy motion and kick, and then the fool lulls the batter a little bit, I think.
Mike Marshall got his rip on that one. There is no doubt that this young man figures in the Yankee plans, as does Willie Smith, the big hulking youngster brought over with Robinson from Pittsburgh. Either one of them can be a closer in the major leagues.
Ooh. I said he'd be pretty hard to follow out there, as slow and easy as he comes up.
There's that little hesitation in the breaking ball on the outside corner. Flowers charging.
Flowers got pretty good gun over there at third base.
The catcher.
Through his career in the minor leagues, he's been reliable at what's been hit to him. Doesn't have a great deal of range. Last year he started off slowly from a defensive standpoint and then had an outstanding second half of the year. He will make an error here or there, but the hope is that he'll add some punch to the lineup. And I think from a Yankee standpoint, as Mackey Sasser steps in, you really need his punch in the lineup until you find out exactly how much punch you're going to get from Dave Winfield. Left side, it'll reach the stands, out of play. By the way, don't forget tonight on the 6 o'clock movie, Richard Pryor stars in Bustin' Loose. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 11. You're a big movie fan.
Oh, yes.
Pryor's funny, isn't he?
He is. He's got a lot of talent. He's lucky he straightened himself out.
1 ball, 1 strike to Mackey Sasser, who took over for Barry Lyons.
Perfect spot, the shortest part of the ballpark. And he hit it well, hit it high.
So Sasser hits the 1-1 pitch to right, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Another look at it, Scooter.
Yep. Let's see. Oh, yeah, he had the head of the bat out. Not by much, but enough. That brings up Kevin Elster, who grounded to second and grounded to short. The fans are calling on whoever got the baseball to throw it back. This one hit hard to left. Back is Hall. He won't get it. That's gone. Holy cow. All of a sudden. Ooh. Well, you see the veterans going out there to talk to the young man. They want him to get shell-shocked out there and lose all his confidence, but
Don Mattingly and Rick Cerrone both came out to talk to Mills. 2 fastballs up a little bit higher than they wanted it.
He's got a good slider, too. You have to use that a little more.
Brings up Mark Carrion, who's 0 for 2. Popped out to short and grounded to third. It's all part of the initiation, right, Scooter?
Oh, yes. I don't know what it is, but the guys you least expect to hit the homers always hit them off the rookies.
You figure in the Yankees' 27-man roster that the 3 extra slots, one of those belongs to Mills, that when we go to 24, he would not be included. He still, of course, has options, and you figure him to spend time in the minor leagues all year this year and get some confidence. He gets Carrion, and they're 2 down.
Now, some clubs can carry 20, or all clubs could carry 25 if they want to. It's kind of an unwritten
gentleman's agreement to go to 24.
Yeah.
I think most will. I think the only talk of 25 came when there was not a 27-man roster. Now that there's 27 for this month, for the month of April, I think everybody will fall in line and drop back to 24.
Could be. See, there is a rebel out there that'll go against it.
I don't think there was any doubt that 27 was right for this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh. It sounded great when I first did it, then they took it away. I couldn't believe it. Now it's back.
The end result is that the extra 3 players, that list is known to the Player Relations Committee, the team, and the Players Association. It is not known by the player and the agent of the player if they are that 25th, 26th, or 27th player. 3-1. Jeffries, base hit, right field.
This is where a manager is torn between whether he should let the kid in and lose all his confidence or keep him in and see if he's strong enough to overcome it.
I think the hope is he can do his 1 inning of work, and the plan was to have each of these pitchers go an inning. And that's the way it's gone up to this point. And there's Righetti warming in the Yankee bullpen. So they'd like to see him complete the inning as Keith Miller steps in. Singled in the 4th inning for his hit. There goes Jeffries. The throw off Jeffries' arm and into short right field, but Espinosa gets it, and Jeffries will not be able to advance. Stolen base for Greg Jeffries.
Good throw by Cerrone. Would have had him. It sailed inside towards the runner. That's a tough play for the second baseman.
One of the first days Greg Jeffries spent in New York. Another look at Cerrone's throw. It looks like it just glanced off the inside of Jeffries' arm and then off Sachs's glove. Stolen base. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. When Jeffries first came up with the Mets, he had an off day, and one of the first places he went was to Yankee Stadium.
He came over here, yep, I remember that.
To meet one of his idols, Don Manning.
Yep.
2-0 to Miller. Mets lead 2-0. Howard Johnson on deck. For those that watched Alan Mills in spring training, this is a different kind of outing because he was in control almost every time he took the mound in spring training, but something different happens when you cross the Mason-Dixon
line and
head north, right, Scooter?
Absolutely. If he doesn't get him out, he might be gone.
Right field, Barfield. So the Mets come up with a couple of runs on home runs by Mackey Sasser, and Kevin Elster will go to the bottom of the 8th at Yankee Stadium. The Mets 2, the Yankees nothing. Davey Johnson looks on as he prepares for the opener against the Pirates, and this is the 27-man roster that the Mets will take to opening day. Julio Machado, of course, Alejandro Pena, Wally Whitehurst. Probably 2 of those pitchers will go, and possibly 1 of the catchers. And in the infield, take your choice unless the Mets make a deal by the time the month of April comes, and there is an indication that something may pop between now and then.
They could.
Barfield, Cerrone, and Blowers due up for the Yankees. They trail at 2-0. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors for the Mets. No runs, 3 hits. No errors for the Yankees. Jesse Barfield had a cyst removed from underneath his rib cage on the left side the other day, and he says it's still a little sore. The test came back. It was a benign tumor. A rather ugly one, he said. But his mom also experienced the same difficulty, had the same trouble. And in fact, she had a couple of them removed in recent years, and it turned out to be, as in her case, no problem, just a question of getting used to swinging the bat again and overcoming the stiffness in the left rib cage area. Hit high and foul along the left field line. Barfield holds another key to the Yankees for 1990. The club has talked to him about cutting down his strikeouts, trying to go with the pitch more, but I mean, that's not a bulletin. Toronto talked to him.
Yeah, never.
Cito Gaston, the hitting coach, tried to get him to do that for a long time. Off the end of the bat, but still driven a distance to left center. There's one down.
Listen, I know John Moore and Marty are going to get mad at me, maybe Dave too, but it's spring training, and just one announcement is all I got to make.
Just one?
Just one. That's it. Good friend of mine, George Ernstein, and his wife, Esther, had a baby boy. He had 3 girls and baby boy. Michael David Ernstein, 7 pounds, 8 ounces, 20.5 inches. All right? Thank you very much.
Jeffries, and there's 2 down. I guess the season's now official, guys.
Yes. Speaking of Florida, will we be going there Tuesday?
Probably, yeah. You could say hello to everybody. I know you'd like to go to Florida, but we're going to unfortunately be broadcasting from Cleveland.
Okay, I should rephrase that. Will our televised game be going down to Florida?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, all right. Of course, there's going to be an addition in Scooter's family. You know, Scooter and Ann are expecting in May, yes.
Look forward to seeing the new addition. Well, probably Scooter will be up for Old Timers Day, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They got it all planned.
We sat and talked a little bit down in spring training. He gave me some dirt on you.
No secrets.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Blowers. Flowers struck out and bounced back to the pitcher. Think he can do it at third, Scooter?
Well, I haven't seen that much of him today from... Whoop.
Steve Palermo punches him out, and Cone has another strong inning. So we'll go to the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium. The Mets on the Toyota scoreboard, after 8 innings, lead the Yankees by a score of 2-0.
Participating advertisers in New York Yankee baseball are your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. The Daily News, New York's hometown paper. Nobody tells it like the Daily News. New York's Lotto, all you need is $1 and a dream. Stay tuned for the lottery drawing later tonight. And by the New York Yankees.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Oh, good to see you, Mr. Seaver. Kind of concerned here. We got this new schedule, and I thought you might have misread it and be heading back to Connecticut.
With you all the way, partner.
Well, there's a young man. I don't know whether you call him a troubled young man, but maybe a little confused, Mr. Righetti.
Well, a lot of discussion in spring training about whose job and who's doing what. Rags scuffled the first part of last year, and they had a little shoulder problem or arm troubles in spring training last year. And, you know, veteran player, it's going to take a little while to get yourself set.
I know
you really work as a team out there in the bullpen.
Right. But remember, was it the early part of this year where they said, or this winter where they said they were going to make a starter out of him? The thought of making a starter.
Well, that's been bannered around for quite a while.
One-on-one.
He has so established himself as a reliever.
I know it.
I think it would be unfair to him now to jerk him out of that position and say, okay, now you're going to be a starter. That was probably some of the talk before the Yanks acquired Leary and before they acquired Pascual Perez.
Curveball ripped foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Mets lead 2-0 here in the top of the 9th. A couple of home runs hit off the rookie, Alan Mills.
Kind of impressive. He has a good arm, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. 2-2.
That's a big jump. I mean, he's no youngster. He's 23 years old, and a lot of people might say, well, you bring him here to Yankee Stadium and rock his confidence, or as a rookie pitcher, just played at Fort Lauderdale and Fort William last year. You know, does that do anything for his psyche? But he is not
he's not
a kid. He's 23 years old. He's had some college experience, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Yankees felt that they could bring him along here and go ahead and use him in this game and see if he's ready for the big leagues.
Strike out for Righetti.
That didn't look like a sore arm there.
No, it didn't. Boy, I tell you, this is a great day for pitchers.
A high fastball, and Howard Johnson, as good a fastball hitter as there is in the game.
I haven't seen anybody handle a high fastball from any of the pitchers that were out there.
They've been some pretty good ones, too. I mean, the Yanks have looked at 3 pretty good arms.
Yes, they have.
And looking at the number 3, 4, 5 pitchers for the Mets, they didn't even get a shot at the number 1 and 2 guys, Gooden and Viola.
No.
Tom O'Malley, the pinch hitter, veteran player for several years in the major leagues with the White Sox and the Orioles, and been very impressive here for the New York Mets, and Davey Johnson likes his bat a lot. Most valuable player in the International League last year. San Francisco Giants. Just starting third baseman for a while with those San Francisco Giants in the big leagues.
Low. 2 balls and a strike. New Jerseyite, this kid. Orange, New Jersey. Now didn't he play with the White? That's why I'm looking at this. See if he played with the White Sox. Nope, I guess not. Baltimore a little bit. Texas a little bit.
Played for the Giants, too. Remember, he's been around. He has been a journeyman player, but
Giants starting is. You're right.
Third baseman for the Giants.
Yep. Three and 1. Full count, 1 out. Mets have 5 hits, the Yankees 3. Mets have 2 homers, though. Got him. So, Righetti, after falling behind, strikes out his 2nd man in a row.
Another very impressive pitch by Dave Righetti, who has struggled in spring training. But I tell you, you get back to the big ballpark, you get back to some cooler weather for a pitcher, as we were talking about before.
That makes you feel stronger, right?
A little bit of tonic for you. That's exactly right.
Dave Magadan.
Here's a kid that thought he was going to have the first base job when Keith Hernandez left. And
he picked up Marshall. That is something. Now, our own Bob Guerin, who had the catching job just about locked up, and he got the injury to his arm, couldn't play every day at Thoreau, and had a great spring, so he's going to start Tuesday night in Cleveland. Is that Ojeda?
No, that's Mike Marshall on the left.
Oh, that's Mike Marshall. Okay.
Johnson. This is Dave Righetti's 4th game that he's appeared in. I guess you can certainly say this is the last day of spring training, albeit not
in Florida, but New York.
How has he done?
Oh, an earned run average about 5.5.
Oh.
5 innings pitched, 8 hits. But you really can't trust that. That shortened spring.
No, that's true.
Makes the numbers look very exaggerated.
Yeah.
Tell you what, the way he's throwing here today, he'd take it all season. He's popping the ball.
Yes, he is.
Authority behind it.
Hot dog wrapper.
Of course, Dave relies on the slider a lot.
Yes, now he does. He does.
That is the most difficult pitch to bring around. That's the pitch that takes the longest
Oh, yeah?
to
Is
develop
that
in
right?
spring training. Yeah. You need arm speed, and then you also need the movement, the wrist movement, just like you do on the breaking ball.
There it was. Oh,
Too.
man.
But as long as you're healthy, the more you go along, the more Dave Righetti goes along, the sharper and quicker that pitch will become.
It's a toughie. It breaks so late. He popped him up. And Mel Hall makes the catch. So 1, 2, 3 inning for Rags, and at the end of 8.5, it's the Mets 2 and the Yankees nothing.
Opening day for the Yanks in Cleveland on Tuesday night at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Tim Leary making his first start for the New York Yankees in the Yankee uniform, starting off the season, the first time he has pitched opening day of the season. And he will be opposed by Tom Candiotti. That'll be Tuesday night in Cleveland, and that will be on WPIX on Tuesday night.
Oh, yes.
Scooter and George Grant and yours truly, Tom Seaver.
And I would think that a knuckleball pitcher wouldn't give you as many stings in your hand if it's a cold night, which it 99 times out of 100 will be on the shores of Lake Erie.
You know it. He hit it off the end of the bat.
Oh, well, that's
off
bad.
the hand,
Yeah,
or
that's-
whatever. I talked to Timmy Leary. He's very excited about pitching opening day.
Oh, great.
He is. Come over here and has pitched very well in spring training. He had a fine year in Los Angeles 2 years ago. Pitched better than his record indicated last year.
3 balls, no strikes on Sachs, who's 2 for 3 for the Yankees. And Luis Polonia on deck. Strike 1. David Cohn on the mound. He did. I'm going to tell you. I mean, that was an inside-out swing. The ball would normally handcuff a batter like that. He gets his 3rd hit. I'll tell you, he's a hit machine.
2 runs down in the bottom of the 9th inning, 3-1 count. You think that Steve Saxon will take it?
Yep. He is something.
Never assume in this game.
Nope.
It was a pretty good pitch, too.
It was very good. All right, Polonia. Ooh, good fastball. Strike 1. Batted .300 last year. 3 homers, 46 RBIs. Ground ball. Oh, base hit to right field. There goes Sachs. That's another one of his attributes, an outstanding base runner. Good try over there by Magadan, but couldn't come up with it. Base hit for Polonia.
Louis Polonia, who usually goes to left field out in front of that pitch. Either the sinker or the split finger rolls over the top, and with Magadan playing on the bag, holding Sachs on, it opens the hole. It's kind of surprising that Magadan was not behind the runner there.
You're absolutely right.
That's up by 2 runs.
All right, here's Mattingly now. He could end. Holy cow, is it? No, it's not. Son of a gun. See, I got to play a few games. This is our first game, Steve. I thought it was gone. But you hit me. As soon as you hit me, I said...
I thought it was gone.
Oh, you did too?
I thought it was gone.
Oh, okay. Sacrifice fly. It's 2-1. Boy, I really thought when you hit it, it was gone.
I still can't judge it from up here. It's difficult for me to judge it from this angle. Just out on the edge of the bat, the ball running away. Cone has excellent movement on his fastball and excellent movement right at the hitting zone, which is the key. Mattingly thought he was right on top of that. The ball moves out toward the end of the bat. He hit it squarely,
He did.
but not in the heart of the bat.
When you see the replay in slow motion, you can't beat it. It shows you everything that you want to see. Strike one.
You can see the movement of the ball. That ball looked like it was going to be inside and came back into the strike zone.
Mel is lined deep to right, fly to center, and struck out. Each team with 5 hits now. Yanks trail by 1. 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth. Maloney is a good base runner.
Again, a big hole down between first and second for Mel Hall. There you can see the defensive setups. Steve Palermo called time behind home plate. A big hole for Hall.
Slow bouncer. Holy cow, they got the double play. I can't believe it. A double play to end the ball game. Good play by Jeffries, but the Yankees pick up a run. And the final score, the Mets 2 and the Yankees 1.
By the New York Mets in the 8th inning off of young Alan Mills. The difference in the ball game, the Yanks came back to get a run in the bottom of the 9th inning, but it was too little too late. The Mets had a 2-1 advantage over the Yanks so far in spring training. They end up with 3 wins and a loss against the Yankees. They win it today here at the stadium 2-1. There's 5 hits for each ball club, 10 hits in the ball game, but unfortunately, George, for the Yankee fans, a couple of home runs by the New York Mets.
I don't think there's any doubt that from a Yankee standpoint, young Alan Mills received his baptism here, and it was a situation where there is a big difference between being in spring training and then heading north and being here as part of the real show in New York.
Well, it's different in the big show. Obviously, as the young players will call it, they say, well, we're going to go up, we're going to be in the show. Coming to Yankee Stadium, coming to one of the historic landmarks in the game of baseball, it's got to be a little bit nervous. I was mentioning to Phil during the game that he is not really a kid. This is not the kind of thing that will rock him. He's 23 years old. He has been around and has some experience, has some college experience. So this is really not something, I don't think, that could set him back from an emotional standpoint. It gives him a little piece of education. Good players will take advantage of that education and not let it work against them.
He's a smart athlete, too, and I think he'll grow from this. One athlete who obviously grew from his experience last year, and it can be witnessed by the final play of the ball game, is Greg Jeffries. Jeffries in control here, Tom.
Good play by Jeffries goes after Louis Polonia, who ran out of the baselines. The umpires immediately called Polonia out. Koss at second base. The second base umpire, Greg Koss, and Fred Brocklander at first. They made a good call on that. They called the base runner out right away. Polonia running out of the baseline.
I think one note that certainly Yankee fans who may have watched the early part of the game and didn't get the complete report, Chuck Carey, who pitched exceptionally well, he went 3 1/3 innings, allowed only 1 hit, and that 1 hit was a bullet up the middle that, as you watch closely, watch the left hand, he sticks the hand up. The ball glances off the index finger and the middle finger of his pitching hand, the left hand, and there was some fear initially that it might have been a serious injury. The report that we have from the Yankee clubhouse is that his index finger and the middle finger of his left hand were hit by the baseball. The x-rays were taken. The x-rays negative. There did not appear to be a break. The hand was iced down, and I really don't think we'll know until tomorrow exactly how sore it's going to be and what his pitching availability will be.
Could have been a lot worse, and hopefully it's just a minor injury. And there goes Scooter. He is on his way over the GW Bridge.
Over the GW Bridge and on his way to Cleveland. The Mets win here 2-1, 2-5-0. The Yankees 1-5-0. David Cone gets the win. Alan Mills takes the loss. And that's it from Yankee Stadium. Our next Yankee telecast will be Tuesday, April the 10th at 7:30 p.m. when the Yankees meet the Cleveland Indians. Leary against Candiotti, the scheduled pitchers there. That'll be Tuesday right here on WPIX Channel 11. For the Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, and for Tom Seaver, this is George Cran. Good day, everybody.